if you're just jumping into the cloud and you're experimenting with a few things, and then you find that something works and something sticks, you start then building your cloud strategy on that sort of first early experiment. Now that might not be the best foundations for a sort of a huge enterprise shift. So what you really want to be doing is at the very early stages is look at the business drivers, the value proposition as to why I want to move to the cloud, but also get that foundation right on day one. If you build on the right foundations, you're going to have a very successful migration. If you have the right strategy in place, it's going to be a success.
Cloud strategy allows you to place a financial framework around what you're trying to do. Some of the moves are costly, and it's very well worth thinking about the cost levers that you have and the benefits that you're going to get on the other side.
There's a lot of concerns that people initially have, especially when you're looking in the enterprise world. Firstly, just the pure scale. People are very overwhelmed about taking huge amounts of applications out of data centers. There's always a security concern. Is my data going to be secure in the public cloud? There's concerns around the skills within their teams. Does my team have the right skill set? What's it going to take to transform them? Is there going to be a huge culture change? It's always a bit of a challenge. People are going to lose their jobs because we're going to a slightly more efficient way of working. The answer to that is no. I think if you do it correctly, it's not about losing jobs, it's about focusing people on doing a better job and driving efficiency out of applications. And cost's always a massive one as well. Can I truly get an ROI by taking this sort of sunk costs that I've got in my data centers and moving them all over to the cloud?
Things about disruption to my organization. Is it going to be worthwhile? What benefits can it bring? And we typically talk about things like agility and efficiency in those situations. So yes, it can be disruptive, there's no doubt about it, but with that disruption, you can bring huge upside.
So again, it's one of the big concerns that we hear a lot about is how safe is the cloud? Well, it's a lot safer than a lot of people would imagine. The data centers that AWS are using, the data centers that Azure are using, that Google are using, they are hugely secure, physically secure, and virtually secure. They comply to almost every certification requirement that's out there. They're way more secure than any data center within a building location, your own location. They're designed to do it, and we're starting to see governments, financial institutions, even some of the security agencies, banks. They're putting their data into the cloud. I think that history of the cloud not being secure, it's a very easy argument to overcome.
I think there's a reality, which is if you're in an enterprise of a certain size, you're going to have differences of opinion. You're also going to have a different set of requirements around what needs to be done for certain applications, certain uses of big data, certain IoT implementations, certain integrations with things like Office 365. And what that's going to point to are specific specialisms with certain cloud providers. So to a certain extent, I think if you're of a certain size, a multi-cloud strategy is in inevitability. Not to worry though, because you absolutely can manage multi-cloud. You can use management tools and processes that will allow you to manage your footprint across multiple clouds, optimize across multiple clouds. What is worth taking very seriously though is something that a lot of people get into multi-cloud thinking that they can move workloads. That is not as easy as it sounds sometimes, and you might spend so long building an infrastructure to allow you to move workloads that it eats any saving you might have got. So think very carefully about that last point.